Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right. Time to make some picks here. Judd, our guy Declan, so we're pre-recording this on a Friday, and Declan is at the Twins press conference right now. So if you're a Twins fan who's still looking for, if you're venomous and you're mad, they just made a move on, Thad Levine's contract came up. So new general manager for the Twins, but Dex is covering that, and he sent in his picks via satellite for us here. But you can check out the Score on Our Twin Show, where I think by the time people consume this, there will be an episode of the Score on Our Twin Show breaking down that press conference. But I digress. Judd, before we dive into the information about this game in London, what the Sharps are saying, current Vikings playoff odds, how's that tune-up, that Livia tune-up working here?
I will tell you right now, it's working incredibly well. I'm 3 weeks in, Phil Mackey, and get this, down 13 plus pounds. Down 13 plus pounds in 3 weeks. How? Wow. Because it's a program, Livia Weight Control Centers. It's a program that works. It's a program where you get great support. It's a program where they help you weekly make decisions on what you need to do to shed those unwanted pounds. It's getting cold outside, so it's going to be couch time, right? A lot of time on the couch. This is the time where, like, if you were thinking about dropping some pounds and you have it, it's easy to pack more on. I tell you right now, resist that temptation, because Livia Weight Control Centers can help you take those pounds off. The scale will be going down instead of up. Absolutely fantastic. Join their nutrition plan today. Get your first 8 weeks for free. How about that? Again, I'm 3 weeks in, 13 plus pounds down. It's this simple. LIVEA.com, 855-GO-LIVEA. Livia Weight Control Centers, inside or outside the state, because the whole thing can be done virtually. They're going to help you get rid of those pounds. Livia.com is where you start.
Amen. Okay. Purple Picks episode of Purple Daily here. We'll start with a few key questions. What are you most confident in on behalf of the Vikings in this game this week?
I think my number one confidence in the Vikings is going to be on the side of, I think that if this was considered, and it could have been a trap game, because you're playing the Jets, London. There's a lot of excuses for why things might not go well. It's an opponent that you certainly at 4-0 could look past, and if you lose, you could say, yeah, but we're still 4-1. But I think the second half of the Packers game especially will guard against that. I think there's a standard here. Sounds cliche, but I think there's a standard here now on both sides of the ball. And I think that standard in the second half of a division game that you were up at one point 28-0 was not met. So I'm most confident that, as crazy as this might sound, because they're coming off a win, the Vikings are going to bounce back here. And I think what could have been a trap game now becomes a game where a lot of fine tuning and buy-in will be shown.
Yeah, before I give the thing I'm most confident in, I agree. It's almost a blessing in disguise that the game turned in the way that it did, because if you were to have just coasted to a win in that game, you're up 28-0. Let's say you win the game like 42-10 or something. You might feel a little haughty going in, looking at what the Jet, because I think everything that you think is going full steam in one direction in the NFL usually hits a wall of some kind and regresses back to a mean.
Sure.
And so this would be a classic potential game where, oh man, the Vikings are riding a little too high. But it's almost like they got their dose of medicine in the second half and still came out with a win.
Yep.
And had a bunch of coaching points this week. So I'm kind of with you on that front. I will say the thing that I'm most confident in is the Jets offense is not some like monster ready to be unleashed. You might look and say, well, wait, but they have Garrett Wilson and they've got Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, my God, the guy was a back-to-back MVP not that long ago. But there is a huge difference between being 37 or 38 in the NFL and 40 and 41. And just because Drew Brees did pretty well when he was 40 and Tom Brady until he was 45, we now think that any quarterback that gets to be that age is. But coming off the Achilles, he has been a shell of his former self. We haven't seen a peak version of Aaron Rodgers in probably 3 years. And so I've watched a lot of these Jets games. And there's been a couple flashes here and there. He can definitely still make some really nice, accurate throws. Yep. And he's still got a little bit of savviness to him. He's probably a little more mobile than you would have thought.
Banged up, right?
But yeah, he came limping off the field.
Yeah, he's got a knee problem.
So, and by the way, on some of the weapons I mentioned, they have not figured out how to unlock Breece. Breece Hall is averaging 3.1 yards per attempt so far this year. And Garrett Wilson is averaging only 9.6 yards per reception. He only has 20 catches in 4 games.
Yeah.
So is this the defense? And I'm not trying to jinx anything or get too haughty, Vikings fans, but this Vikings defense is literally ranked first in DVOA, first in expected points added, fourth in scoring, first in pressures, first in quarterback hurries, first in sacks. Is this the defense that you're going to get right against and explode for like 31 or 35 points? So I think, again, the thing I'm most confident in is, and another thing real quick, the Jets had to go back to the drawing board with their cadence this week. Mm-hmm. Because there's not enough chemistry. These guys haven't played together. Aaron Rodgers has an effective but complicated cadence. So he's trying to get defenders to show certain things, which he's going to have to put into overdrive against this Brian Flores defense. So it just feels like a tough spot for the Jets and a get-right week for the Vikings defense if you hated the second half. So I'm most confident in the Vikings defense.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
On the flip side, what are you most nervous about on behalf of the Vikings?
So I'm going to make this clear. Like I'm not like jittery, but I am a little bit curious. And I think I'm with you. I think the Jets offensively are a mess. And the problem is when you struggle like the Jets are offensively, Aaron becomes a detriment. Because he doesn't really fix things. He just whines and gripes and bitches and moans.
He loves to point out problems.
Yeah, exactly right. He loves to point out problems and how other people can fix them. So I'm with you on that side of the ball. Where I am most, I guess, concerned, leery, is the Vikings offense is running into a really good defense. The Jets are third in total D, which is yards. Passing defense, they're second. Against the run, they're 21st. So the Vikings can run now. That's good. But if you look, this is a matchup of scoring defenses. As you said, the Vikings are 4. The Jets are 5, 15.5 points per game. So where I am nervous, where I am is and look, I mean, you've got Jefferson, Addison, you've got guys that can play. So I'm not concerned that the Vikings are going to collapse, but this is going to be a real test. And it's funny. It feels like from afar, Robert Salah is still a really good defensive coordinator and a lousy head coach. And so his defense is still pretty damn good. I do think that the Vikes will win, and we'll get to that. But my point is, I do think the Vikings also offensively are going to meet a match that is going to definitely punch back against them and their offense.
Yeah. On that note, so this is a Sam Darnold revenge game of sorts. Has he played? I'm putting you on the spot here. Is this the first time he's played the Jets?
Nope. He did in Carolina.
Okay.
Yep.
So at least it's not a totally fresh thing to go back.
No.
And he doesn't seem like the type of personality that's like staying up late at night thinking about anything really.
I was going to say, I don't know, and this is probably an unfair characterization of him, Phil, but football-wise, I don't know how much goes on up there.
Yeah, I mean,
he might be, I have no idea. Away from the field, he might love the arts, he might be, but I'm just saying.
He's a jock.
Yeah, he's a jock. And
he's a guy's guy.
And
Sam Darnold.
If you recall, our guy, Brad Childress, used to call or refer to flatline guys. You just want to be flatline. He is as flatline as it gets.
Yeah, I agree. He's even in because he's literally had the best 4-game stretch of his NFL career. And these locker room celebrations where like KOC is getting hyped and a little emotional and the locker room's going crazy and it's time for Sam to get his game ball. And he just kind of comes over and like gives a nod and maybe a quick hug, and then goes back.
But his expression does not change.
No. So I think, it's a fun angle. He has downplayed it this week. it's just this is a great situation for him, and I agree with you. It's probably the toughest defensive test that he's going to face, so that is something to be a little bit worried about. I think, all right, sometimes the turf does get a little weird. The thing that I'm the most nervous about is I just don't want anyone to get hurt in this game. Yeah. I think the Vikings are, spoiler alert, I think the Vikings are in line to win this. Sometimes weird things happen. I mean, this is what happened a couple years ago with Lewis Seen, right?
Yes.
So I don't want to even put bad juju out there, but just go beat the Jets, get back healthy, get to the bye, get on the plane, just don't have anything weird happen.
Yes.
That's kind of where I'm at with this.
Very fair.
Is anyone coaching or playing for their job in this game?
On the Viking side?
Either way, either side.
Well, yeah. Yes. Robert Salah is. If the Jets lose and lose convincingly, I'm telling you, I think he might get fired on the plane ride home. Like, they're going to have to do something. And they're the Jets. They handle nothing well, right? Yes. I think if the Jets get spanked by the Vikings, if they have 3 more false start penalties, right? Like Rodgers, I mean, there's no question in my mind. He is basically setting up Salah to be fair or not. And it might be fair. The fall guy. Like he basically said, we don't need to change our cadences. The head coach needs to hold guys accountable. So yes, I think 1000% Robert Salah is potentially coaching for his job. Yes.
I think we're on Robert Salah watch, not warning. I think it's a 3-game stretch where they're 2-2. You got Vikings, and then they don't get a bye. They get the extra day on a Monday, but it's a Bills matchup, and then it's Steelers. I think it's at Steelers the week after, and you're probably underdogs in all 3 of those games. So if you come out of that with 3 straight losses, he's 100% getting fired. Yep. So maybe you're right. If this is bad enough on Sunday,
but the bye's a good point too.
Yeah, because just keep it churning. You're coming back from
But he's definitely
London.
coaching in some way, shape, or form for his job.
Yeah, because if they get smoked, now it's a warning. Now you're on Robert Salah warning. I do want to go back one thing on the most nervous category. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold has not had a full-on bad Sam Darnold game yet. He's tried to throw the ball to the opposing team a couple more times than maybe, like, there was a dropped interception by the Packers last week. So I just want to, I'll put this out just to put it on the table. I'm a little nervous about him throwing like 3 interceptions against a really good defense. And then now the Jets get the ball at the doorstep of the red zone. And even if the Vikings defense is playing really well, if they're starting in field goal range and Aaron Rodgers gets into the red zone, I would just say like Sam Darnold turnovers, flipping the field for a bad Jets offense to score points that they otherwise wouldn't.
Yep.
It's on my mind.
How much do you think that, and it's clearly not 100%, how much do you think that O'Connell has Darnold-proofed games to?
A lot. There's a lot of just real quick, easy decisions. Well, hell, look at that final drive, not the final drive, but like the drive where the Vikings with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter had to score some points against the Packers. And the big chunk play to Jefferson, like the third play of that possession. We did this on trenches, the all 22 from the end zone side. Jefferson was 20 yards wide open. They're crossing midfield. The Packers know they have to stop the Vikings from even getting a field goal. Otherwise, the Vikings go up by 9. So the Packers know that the Vikings are trying to get the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And they run it was like a double pick play, but not a pick. You know, it was brilliantly schemed so that you had 2 receivers. You had a tight end and a receiver coming across from right to left.
Right. And
Jefferson going up kind of above those 2 routes. And the 2 defenders get picked off. And when he catches the ball, the snapshot of the all 22 cam is wild because there is nobody within 20 yards of him, depth or width. And so, like, if you're Sam Darnold, that's the easiest throw. You just made in a key spot where you have to get points, the highest pressure moment. The Packers are back in the game. The crowd's going crazy. You haven't moved the ball all second half. And you just got put into your lap a schemed, wide open Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Credit to Sam for like making the throws. And
I'm not trying to take it. Yeah, I'm just saying I think part of the thing with Mullins, right, last year was what O'Connell found out was he couldn't Mullins proof games.
He was just gonna give the ball away like 3 or 4 times.
Correct. And you can't.
Sam has had at least 2 of those short circuit moments in every single game so far this year, though. I will say that.
Yes, but that's what. Yeah, but I guess my question is because I think O'Connell trusts Sam more. I think he trusts Sam more than Nick not to do something incredibly stupid. But you're right. So like you can't say that games are Darnold proof completely, but it feels like there is a certain. I don't know if it's 85% or something, a certain percentage that they've made it pretty fairly safe at times where previously and clearly with the Jets, it became a complete disaster because the game in no way was Darnold proofed.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about what the Sharps are saying about this game. Get your thoughts on this from the Action Network. The Jets offense struggled mightily last week against the Broncos' elite defense. And it doesn't get any easier against the Vikings' top-ranked defense by DVOA this week. Rodgers has shown flashes of elite play, but he ranks just 17th in expected points added among quarterbacks. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores' blitz-heavy defense will take advantage of an offensive line missing right tackle Morgan Moses. Rookie Olu Fashanu allowed 5 pressures and finished with a 32 PFF pass blocking grade last week. Out of 100. On the other side, the Jets have struggled to generate pressure defensively, ranking 25th in pass rush win rate, and Darnold has been lethal from a clean pocket so far this year. Yeah, that's been a problem. I mean, well, the Jets thought they were going to have Hassan Reddick.
Right.
But here we are.
Out.
Probably not going to be in London, my guess is.
That's
this
such
week.
a Jets thing.
So again, like on paper, it's if you're going to fluster Sam Darnold, you got to if he's gonna make 4 really dumb plays, like it's not going to be from a clean pocket with this system.
Right.
So can the Jets find a way to dial it up in some clever ways? Playoff odds via The Athletic, via the New York Times, which has purchased The Athletic. Yeah. The Vikings currently have an 89% chance to make the playoffs, a 53% chance to win the division, and a 10% chance to win the whole bleeping thing.
Okay.
So that those Super Bowl percentages, the Chiefs have the highest percentage to win the Super Bowl, 14%. And actually, this went up from the last night's game. I don't know if because the Bucs lost. The Vikings now have an 11% chance to win the Super Bowl and a 90% chance to make the playoffs. So they are the second Super Bowl contender right now.
Well, hell, the NFL.com has them in their current rankings number 1. ESPN has them 2 behind the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's legit right now.
Yeah, it's just 4 weeks in, man, and they're sitting here with a 90% chance to make the playoffs. And I know some people have brought up like, well, there's been some examples in Vikings history where they've started 5-0 or 6-0.
This is true.
So they were 5-0 in 2016, and then they finished with 8 wins, I want to say.
Yep, they won 3 more games.
And then in 2003, they were 6-0.
Yep, and lost.
And they finished 9-7, but lost a tiebreaker, right?
Yep.
That was the Cardinals' Nate Poole
game. Yep, when the Packers beat the Broncos.
But I would say a couple things. The 2003 Vikings team, although stacked offensively with Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper, although they didn't have Chris Carter at that time because he had retired.
Yep.
That defense was a disaster in the early 2000s.
Yeah, improved.
And in 2016, the offensive line was in shambles early. I mean, you had like underqualified left tackle. It just the vibes felt off. The guys on that team, like Booney was on that team, said, yeah, even in the locker room, we were like, this is the fakest 5-0 team in the NFL. Wow. I don't think this team feels that this is fake, and the analytics show you that it's not fake. So I don't know that I would compare this 4-0 start to the collapses of 16 and 2003, unless you want to disagree with me on that.
No, I mean 16 was a fun start, but it felt very dicey. 03 was a year actually that I was covering the Packers for the Strib, and the Packers got off to a terrible start. The Vikings get off to a great start. If you recall, they lost their first game at the Metrodome to the Giants, and that's the game that. So they're now 6-1 at that point. Red McCombs goes in the locker room and lights the team up.
Yeah.
You guys suck. This embarrassment. It's like you're 6-1. It's funny, the first loss in '03 and in 16. In '03, the owner goes in and basically tells the team they suck at 6-1.
Yeah.
And then the first loss in 16 was the game against the Eagles in Philly, where Zimmer decides to call the offensive line soft in his post game. Those are two sure recipes to lose your team.
And confirmed that many times by Boone and Cyril's that comment by Zimmer absolutely put a wedge in that locker room. And because then it started some finger pointing it enabled some finger pointing in the locker room too.
And that's not going to, I can guarantee you, I can't guarantee a lot of things. I can guarantee you Kevin O'Connell ain't going to a podium and blaming anybody.
No. So, okay, we'll make our official picks on the record and give you the season standings so far here after I take a little sip out of this brand new 32-ounce Justin Jefferson Pepsi souvenir cup.
I'd like to get one of those.
Oh, it's delicious. Yeah, you can, well, it's just water, I guess, in here, but you can put Pepsi
sure
in
it
here.
is. Yeah, no, yeah, sure.
The cup is available inside local Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh locations right now, and there's a QR code on this cup, which allows you to scan it and enter to win Victor's Ride, a glorious Vikings-themed Polaris ATV that Jason from Egan won last year. They literally just drove this thing up to his house with Victor, with CJ Ham, the Skull Line, and boom, it was Jason's. You can win this year's version, but you got to get one of these Pepsi 32-ounce Justin Jefferson souvenir cups inside a local Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh location. A bunch of you sent me your photos of your cups this week, so keep them coming at Phil Mackey on Twitter/X. Hey, Federated Insurance has been a great partner of ours here too on Purple Daily and Score North, and we appreciate those of you who have supported our partners because that's how we keep these shows going 365 days a year on Purple Daily. If you're a business owner out there, Federated is like having a great offensive line for your business. Federated's all about safety and preventing claims and risk management. Let the team at Federated support your business. Federatedinsurance.com, where you can find a full list of industries they protect, and you can find out more information about a great company that goes back to 1904, based in Owatonna, Minnesota. And I'm perusing through the Prize Picks app here and looking at some of the other, it's kind of funny, like Darnold is 225.5, Rodgers is 225.5. Mm-hmm. Very optimistic about Joe Burrow to have a huge game against that Baltimore defense, 253.5. That's kind of a do or die game, by the way, for the Bengals against the Ravens. A lot of them are now,
right?
Yeah. And then poor Tyler Huntley. He's the Miami starting quarterback now. You care to guess what his 159.5. If you got faith in those weapons, maybe you can go more on Tyler Huntley. But yeah, go on Prize Picks, download the app. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Just download the app, use the code Purple Daily, and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's the code Purple Daily on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, so let's go through some of the nitty-gritty details here. Vikings by 2.5. That's the line right now. It started with the Jets. It opened at Jets -4, so 4-point favorites a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Now it's Vikings 2.5.
Interesting.
77% of the bets are on the Vikings, but 75% of the money is on the Jets. So this looks like public is leaning Vikings, but bigger bets are coming in on the Jets. They're going to take those 2.5 points.
Okay.
It's interesting. So Judd, straight up, you are 3-1. I am 3-1. Dex is 2-2. Against the spread, Judd is undefeated, 4-0. I am 3-1. And Declan is 3-1. Declan sent us in via text his picks, so I'll mix those in. But you start us off here. Who wins and by how many points? Vikings by 2.5.
Vikings win, and they win by, I think, at least a touchdown. So the Vikings win and the Vikings cover. I am sticking to what I said after I picked San Francisco to win in week 2. And that is, I'm not picking against the Vikings until I see something that causes me to. And yes, the Green Bay game can cause concern, But don't forget, the Vikings also took a 28-0 lead.
Yeah.
So I'm going Vikings win and the Vikings cover the 2.5.
Yeah, so Declan texted in Vikings by 10. So he's got the Vikings straight up and the Vikings covering the 2.5. And I've been saying this all week. I mean, just been spoiling it for like 4 days. I think this Jets team is a lot closer to firing a coach and having a complete burn down of the building than they are beating the Vikings in this. It is football, and maybe I'm just too high on a Vikings
And their defense
team that's
is good.
The Jets can keep games
just
close.
Play defense, so.
Totally. Yep. And they did hold Bo Nix to 60 yards passing on 25 attempts, but Bo Nix is playing his first month in the NFL. It's just not really comparable.
I think the Vikings got a fighting chance in this game, Phil, at a defensive touchdown.
I agree with that. Aaron Rodgers doesn't serve up too many opportunities, but it could be like a fumble, pick up a fumble or something.
Yep. Especially so he's got the Achilles from last year. Now he's got a knee, right?
Yeah.
Hit from behind.
Or a backup guy. Tyrod Taylor comes in, maybe. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Vikings could, off the record completely, of course, not to write that down, just mauling a defensive touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did predict on Write That Down, a 3-score win, so 17 points or more.
Yeah, you went really aggressive.
Pretty aggressive, but
yeah, you did.
I could see like 21-9. I could see if it's a 3-score game, so I need 17. I could see 24-7. I don't think the Vikings are scoring 40 against this defense, but I could see the Jets offense really being a problem here. So yeah, I'll keep riding the Vikings to win straight up and to cover. So all of us have Vikings winning straight up and covering the 2.5.
I saw a stat this week. So the Vikings have trailed in the Giants game. That's it. And I think their total time trailing is like 3:26 or something.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. Someone put up a number too of like the last possession that the opposing team had to take a lead. Because like, okay, Packers get within 6, but Vikings get possession, then they score right away. So it's first quarter for teams that even have the ball with a chance to lead against this team. So yeah, let us know in the comment section, Purple Daily YouTube channel, who wins and by how many. And Vikings Vent Line right after every single Vikings game on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Can't wait. And then the bye week afterwards, and we'll have tons of content coming out of the London game and into the bye week too.
You mean we're not going to take the entire week off?
We do not take the entire week off here on Purple Daily.
We're crazy.
It is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.